Welcome to the JoContractor Show, a podcast created by three regular Joes. The JoContractor Show is a place where trade professionals, business owners, and homeowners looking for solid advice and amusement can hear stories of great success and great failure in the turbulent and unpredictable world of construction. On the JoContractor Show, we dig deep into the realm of remodeling and construction. We chat with construction trade professionals, business owners, and homeowners alike. We support local independent contractors and those who put their trust in the hands of these capable and hardworking business owners and tradespeople. We discuss construction and home maintenance from multiple angles, and we do it with compassion, purpose, and humor. Listen as Lori, Merrick, and Sam, along with a wide variety of guests, explore topics related to construction, home ownership, small business creation, and more. A quick reminder, don't forget to send your questions to questions@JoContractorshow.com. And after you've done that, please take a moment to hit the like button, subscribe, or talk about us tomorrow morning at the local coffee shop. We appreciate feedback and critique, and it lets us know that you're out there and that you care.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the JoContractor Show.
Yay!
It has been a while, though.
It has.
Doesn't feel great when we take a long time in between.
No, I miss you guys.
Yeah, but I assume we all have good reason for it to have been a while. Busyness, correct?
Busy.
Yeah.
Now it's getting cold. Today. Just
this afternoon. It was like
Right.
warm this morning.
Yeah.
And now it's getting cold. So,
Yeah, I think this might be it.
It's it.
We're gonna.
I mean,
winter's knocking at the door here.
well, if you subscribe to weather apps and stuff, like lately, it's been like the normal like heart rate rhythm thing, and it just went flatline in the 30s. Like we're dead for the winter now.
Totally.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. You know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. There's no
Yeah.
more bumps up into the 60s coming our
No
way.
clocking left.
No, it's done.
Save it for spring.
Yep. So I think we're all in agreement there. So yeah, but everyone's been busy, but good.
Really good. Really busy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good. All right. So I'm trying the live streaming. We'll get better at this. I already kind of like the fact that we can make this work.
Yeah. Me too.
For our first attempt, I'm sure this will be a rough go, but that's okay. We'll figure out, we can set this up at some point so that everyone can see, but since it's our first time at it, I need to look at this and see what's going on. So anyway, here's our show. So thanks, listeners, for tuning in. Who are our fictitious sponsors this week? Do we have any?
We
Think
should
of-
really
shoot
get
big.
Milwaukee to
Shoot big.
sponsor.
Yeah, Milwaukee.
Yeah, Milwaukee.
We want to thank Milwaukee for thinking of us.
Bosch.
So-
Right.
Yeah, Bosch is great. We should go big.
True Work Clothing is who I'm trying to get on board.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, they know
Yeah.
about us so far, but that's it.
That's good, though. That's good.
Fleet Farm would be a good sponsor.
I mean, they're big.
Yeah.
Mills or Blaine's, though.
We'll take all their money.
Because if you're
'Cause
in
they'll want
Wisconsin,
us.
there's it's Mills Fleet Farm up here, and it's Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
Are they the same?
No, different brothers or cousins or something like that
Ah.
that diverged years ago. Or that's the story I was told as a kid. I don't know. But you Wisconsinites know what I'm talking about. All of our Wisconsin listeners. So anyway, this show comes after the success of our Apprentice show. Did we do another one after that?
I don't think we have.
I think that's the last one we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really been a while. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you, we got a lot more listens. So if you are new to us and you want to go back and listen to that Apprentice show, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of listens to it.
Very informative.
Yep. And this is a question and answer show. So we break our podcast up into sort of different segments. We've got just the three of us today. We're doing question and answer. We did one of these before. It was actually a lot of fun.
It was fun.
Yeah. So here we are. And I think we should just jump right in.
Yeah, I've got a list of questions from a couple homeowners here. And I think I'll just start with that first one, which is how many bids should I get for a major project? Like 2 or 3?
Okay, how many
Go
bids
for it,
should I
guys.
get for a major project? I'm going to put a comment out there so
Sure.
that people, if they are watching, they should be able to hear. That's the question that we're answering right now. How many bids should I get for a major project?
Yeah, and I'll start a discussion. Merrick, do you mind?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, for in the past, you always were to get 3 bids.
That's what I was going to say.
Right?
That's what they always said. Yep, 3.
Getting more than that, it's a waste of your time. Getting less than that, you could be a waste of your time. But these days, in our current climate, if I know somebody's getting 2 or 3 bids, I say, have fun. Go for it.
I'm out.
I'm out. And size of project depends too. So if it's a bigger project, you might want to get a couple of bids on that. If it's a smaller one, I'm not bidding on anything smaller against 3 people. Because I already know, we've been in the business long enough. I guess that would be key. If somebody's new, as a new contractor out there, then you might not trust their numbers. But if you got a really low bid and you're super excited about that, you might want to ask them how long they've been in business.
Right. A low bid, a low bid is so often the start of a lot of trouble.
Yeah, for everybody.
It is. You got to think of it a lot of different ways. But if the person bidding the job isn't bidding fairly for their time so that they make a decent living, there's a difference between earning an appropriate amount of money and taking advantage of someone. I don't know too many people who actually take advantage of people.
I think, the other thing, did you want to add, Merrick? I think the other thing right now is people are busy. Getting 2 to 3 bids can be a lot. You can Google and find information out where people will say, they seem like they're very fair, their numbers are fair, or they're very high, but they're really good. So I think there's enough information out there right now that you're not just guessing. I always hear that, oh, you're pretty middle of the road. And I never want to hear I'm the low bid. And is it apples to apples? So I like comparing bids. I'll even ask clients, I'm like, can I look at all the bids? I'll be honest with you if you want to show them to me. Or show me your bid. I don't have time to bid on it. Show it to me, and I'll let you know if I can beat that bid or not.
Right.
So it's just the climate right now is so crazy that it's so crazy for the clients and for the contractors. So do you have time to get 3 bids? I don't know.
Well,
Maybe.
and I would say that you'd break the project into different types. If you're looking at something where you can compare apples to apples, like maybe a relatively simple electrical change, you're putting new fixtures in somewhere or something, right? Or even the work that I do, tile work, right? You don't have to tell me that you're getting 3 bids. Just go get 3 bids if you can find people to do it. If you're talking big remodeling project, I would say 1 bid I would look less for bids and more for recommendations.
Yeah.
Because that's, I think, ultimately the more important part there.
Because it's really hard to compare apples to apples on a big bid.
Yeah, I mean,
Is that what you're saying?
we're all guessing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an educated guess, but we know, if you're looking at a kitchen remodel and it's a $120,000 kitchen remodel, and you're going to compare someone at 115 and someone at 125,
right.
Like you're kind of missing the point, because
Right.
the person at 115, they're going to get you to 125 by the end of that anyway, most likely, because you're saying, I want this really nice thing done. So I would say it's less important to worry about the exact number on those projects and more important to worry about the quality of the person that you're hiring.
Yeah,
Right.
and I think it matters also, like, how much does the relationship matter? Like some things are just cut and dry. You could call 3 different companies and
Like
just
a
go with the
deck
cheapest one
or something.
because
Fence.
because
A fence. Yep.
right, something
Yep.
like that. But then for something that's a little bit more intimate, like a kitchen or a bathroom remodel, finding a contractor that you trust and using them over and over and knowing that they're going to be fair with you and communicate in the way that you want is going to pay in the end. Even if you end up paying a little bit more, the amount of issues you can have on those kinds of things can be substantial too.
Yes. And those relationships are, they do get intimate, and that's maybe a difficult word to hear for like a first-time homeowner to say, like, what do you mean intimate? Like, have a crew of people spend 6 or 9 months in your house and see whether that's an intimate relationship or not,
Yeah, really good point, because that relationship comes down to, if dollars mean nothing if that relationship goes to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, no, it's true. So that's a great question. I liked it.
Yep.
What do you got for us?
And also, how can I guarantee from the contractor I choose that they won't up the price later on?
You can't.
Well, you got to look at what do they have in there for change orders? How are those dealt with? How precise is their
scope
of work?
Yep, and then the bid that goes with that scope.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But I would say there again, it comes back to relationship, because you could throw that right back at the homeowner and say, how much of a guarantee can you give me that you're not going to change your mind on anything that we've talked about at this point? Because I don't know very many contractors who I think you could say they go into those relationships wanting and hoping to have it go somewhere else and be a lot more expensive or something. I do think that the people who are better at contracting than me, they understood that when a change order came along, charge appropriately, relatively high for it. Make them know that this is going to change things and you have to pay for this. Mm-hmm. And if you want it, you better sign here, because you're making our life more difficult,
Yeah, and sometimes a bigger, more expensive company, they're going to be more organized. You're more likely to hit the mark than going with a small. You get, like some guy with his truck that comes in and says he can do your kitchen remodel for $20,000. And then it's like, oh, well, and this and that and the other thing, might not be as professional or as organized.
That's true. It's a good question. You don't always have to hire the biggest guy, but if somebody comes in and gives you a verbal, that wouldn't be enough I would tell that client that's not enough. You need to have it written down, and you want the details. So as much details written down as possible. And then the client, I always tell my clients, make sure you read this carefully to be sure I've included everything. And then I guess another thing is that I always say I don't know about this one area. We might run into stuff. So this is a questionable area. And we already know, if you've been doing it long enough, what the questionable areas can be. Meaning, when we take that sink out and open up that wall, this might not be vented. I can't see the vent on the roof, so I don't know if it's going through.
Right.
So things like that. So I think if it's somebody in the business for a long time, A, they're going to write everything down, and B, in a long time, you don't even have to be in that long time, just be smart. That smart contractor that says, here it is, here's written down, read it over, and here's what I think that we could possibly run into something here. But if you change something, that's not on me, that's you. If you change something, it's an add or change, then it will go up.
I agree with everything you're saying, and I have a person I know, and I won't mention names, but who I was told never does contracts, never writes anything down, but has a great reputation and still has a ton of clients and does really nice work and nice projects. And I thought, like, how does that work?
I don't know. I don't know.
But I think part of it is, it goes back to finding the right contractor for you, the one that fits your personality. This person must find people who are like totally comfortable with that and everything works. And there's the like clipboard and clipped on cell phone contractor. There's the kind of rougher, just a truck, and like you have to find the one that makes you feel comfortable. I think.
Good point. Yeah, I know that that still happens, but I'd be uncomfortable with the verbal.
I totally understand. Yeah, I think most people would, and I think they should be. But.
And I think you could ask the opposite question too. Like, as a contractor, how do you pick good clients?
Yeah.
Because there's some red flags I've learned over the years. If you go to the estimate and the client is, asking a ton of questions or talking about getting a lot of different bids or constantly talking about dollar figures, might be a red flag for you. It's kind of a two-way it's a two-way thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally. Yeah.
So
relationships.
Yeah, it is relationships, and I made that same note. And I tell any new client when I walk in, I'm interviewing them too.
I've learned to walk away from people. Like if I just don't have time to deal with certain things, and I don't want to, and I know that good luck. You're gonna find the right fit for you, but it's not me.
Right. And that's it's the right fit. And you typically know, like you said, Merrick, when you walk in, you're like, I don't think this would be a good fit.
Well, and you're not doing either of you a service. Like I always kind of felt bad, like in years past, if I didn't get a job. Like I had done something wrong, I took it a little personally or something. Right. And now I'm like, nope, that's okay. It's totally fine.
Right.
You will find the right person for you. It's just not me.
Right.
So there you go.
Yeah.
All right, great question. What do you got for
Here's
another one?
one. Can I ask for references from former clients?
You guys jump in, Merrick.
Well, I guess I'm not quite following the
So
question.
I'm gonna if you came to my house and I don't know you,
right.
and can I ask you for a list of references from any of your past clients? Do you do that
I would love
yet?
that. I would love that if somebody asked me for those, because it gives me an opportunity to, reconnect with my client, and also to show off, the kinds of relationships I'm building. And
Does that still happen? Do people ask you for that?
it happens, yeah. I'd say.
That's a good question.
I think it used to happen a lot more
Yeah, I was going
in
to
the
say
past.
It used to happen.
Now people will say, "Can I get 3?" And I look at them and I'm like, "Well, I can, but just so you know, they're all going to love me. Those 3 references I'm going to give you are going to love me."
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Do you want the ones that hate me, the few that hate me,
Yeah.
or do you want like the 99% who love me?
Right.
How about a good one and a bad one?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, and I hope you think they're crazy too, because I sure did. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because I would say, I'm super happy to give people the reference from the people who love me and everything. But I also feel a little bit like I'm putting them out.
I do too, yeah.
But some of those past clients that were like, no, by all means, I'd love to talk, because they're when you get to know your clients really well, they sort of invest themselves in your success too. And those are the best clients, because then they are telling all of their friends how wonderful you are, and they're really champions of your business outside of your business too. So,
yeah, the other thing is, though, you got to have the time to call them or email them and get a hold of them, then make the connections. And I'm like, can you just Google me?
It's a bit of a red flag if somebody wants to talk
if
to
they really
former
want to get into it
clients and stuff like that. I mean, most of my work is reference or referrals anyway.
Right.
From previous
You're
clients.
right. It can be a bit of a red flag. Yep. Yeah, it can be a little off-putting at first, but I'm also totally happy to do it, but it has to be the right project.
It's it is old school, though.
It is. Yeah, I guess it kind of depends on the person.
Right.
But if it's for like if it's for a really small project, I'm like, no. Like
bigger ones, sure. I guess that makes a little more sense.
Yeah,
Show me some of your bigger projects.
If they're making a big commitment and they want to see something similar to
Sure.
what you're doing,
Yeah.
some of those $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 projects, I would say, like, I get it.
Right.
I get we're reconfiguring your whole house. Here's 3 people I did this for in the past you can talk to. That's never put me out, I guess, in that, scenario.
Sure.
But something small, like, nah.
Yeah. I think that word of mouth, again, goes a long ways, versus, if they don't know you or your clients yet. But, you're new to town, and who do you ask?
Yeah.
People ask me, who would I hire? And I'm like, I don't know.
You go to
Sam and Merrick.
You go to JoContractor eventually.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, good
You
point.
do, because that's what the deal is there, is building a community that you can engage with and hopefully get honest answers from a community that cares. So
Yeah, so we will have that out for you, clients and contractors, hopefully sometime in the near future.
It's like the same thing that we say when you ask when your kitchen's going to be done. Like, pretty soon, sometime in the near future, provided everything goes right.
And comes in.
Yeah. That's the world. All right, what else you got over there,
How
Lori?
about this?
I like these.
Here's if a crew has been in my house, what coverage do I have if I realize something was stolen or broken by the crew?
What coverage do you have if you realize something was stolen or broken?
Well, your homeowner's insurance should.
But they want you. It'd be they're assuming that it was you. So if I realize something was stolen or broken by the crew. I mean, you could use your homeowners, but you're not going to want to, right?
Well, your initial instinct is going to go to us,
Right.
The owner of the construction company, and say, hey, one of your crew did this, or whatever.
So, I had an experience.
Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
So we were doing this kitchen remodel, and I had this guy working for me, and he's kind of loud and rough around the edges, an intense person just in general, and so the homeowner lost their Patagonia fleece, and they were like, well, the only person that was in the house was that guy. And I'm like thinking about the guy, and I'm thinking like, sleeves torn off of his t-shirt and like total punk rock. I'm like, that guy wouldn't wear a Patagonia fleece if you gave it to him.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it was still really hard to navigate. It's like, as an owner, I'm like, well, he could have.
Right.
That's possible. But I trust him. I don't think that he would do that. But then it's, the homeowner's like, well, it's gone.
He said, she said.
And then you're kind of in this position where, I mean, that's a tough position to be in.
It is. Once you admit, well, even if you said, all right, let's just pretend, I'll pay for it. Then now suddenly they don't trust you. So it is a hard spot. I think I've been in that spot. I'm trying to think of, I know I have. It's usually something's broken, I think. Or tools are missing. Their tools are gone, and they're
like the homeowners'
tools are gone. And
I've never run into that one. That's funny.
My one hammer is gone. I'm like, pretty sure our crew likes nicer hammers than that, and we don't really even use hammers much anymore.
Right.
Let's just wait till the end of the project and see what happens, or a ladder or something. And I'll say, well, I'll look around and I'll ask. I'll do my due diligence, and typically
That's fair.
Typically they find it. Or I've paid for like a broken vase or something that who knows who broke it. The crew doesn't know. They, whatever. So
or no one's fessing up.
Right.
But we all, I mean, like, I usually, I've always felt like I know everyone so well that like they're going to be honest with me.
True.
That's
what you hope for.
Yeah. I mean, well, I would say plenty of experience with people coming to me saying, well, I broke their shit. And you're like,
Yeah.
Oh,
Great.
I guess we'll have to take care of that, which is fine. So much better that than to, like, as a company owner, having someone come to you and say, I did this, we need to take care of this, is like a way better deal than, I don't know, than having the homeowner come and say, hey, I think it was one of your people that did this, and then you don't have any idea.
Yeah.
Like, it's such an uncomfortable situation.
Totally.
Yeah, way more comfortable to go to the homeowner and say, look, really sorry.
We broke this.
But here's the thing that happened.
Or have you thrown things away and goes to the dumpster and it was supposed to be reused?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah. And you're like,
Yeah.
I'll buy you a new sink.
Well, don't you remember when we started that I told you I wanted that copper roofing? Like, 100-year-old copper roofing. I think the guys just tore it off there and threw it out. I'm really sorry.
Here's about one story. We took off some copper flashing just this past summer, threw it in the back of one of our carpenter's trucks. We'll recycle here, but it was a big piece of flashing. It got stolen out of his truck.
Of course.
When he stopped for coffee. And the homeowner said, hey, where'd that flashing go? I could get some money for that. I'm like, I think it's probably at our warehouse. I'll check. And we're like, no, it got stolen out of one of the trucks. And so then I had to look it up to see what it was worth. And I found and gave him the highest dollar of 25 cents a pound. Or I can't remember, something like that. So I said, I'll deduct the $33 from the bill. And so
that's kind of you.
That's how we do it. But I'm like, $33, that's it,
Right. I mean, at that point, you'd want to maybe suggest to the homeowner that they just let it go.
Yeah, I said, I will deduct it, but do your research too to make sure that you're good with my number, so I don't want it to come up again.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That's a pretty minor one. Yeah, I've definitely had.
I didn't know though. I thought, is this worth $1,000? I didn't have a clue because I haven't. Like, when's the last time I've measured out or weighed some copper flashing?
Well, I've had. I had a tub that was a 3-wall alcove with a skirt and all really finely tiled in, and no way to get more of this tile. That. We found the crack months after the install, and it was almost assuredly the plumber, but actually Kohler admitted it was a defect in their tub, so maybe it wasn't them. Like, it was so hard to tell, and so Kohler admitted the fault and gave us a new tub, but guess who had to remove all of the tile, painstakingly remove all of the tile, and spend a week of my life fixing the problem, because there is no cure for that. But yeah, I mean, it's that's a tricky one when you think, I don't know, there's, unless it's something serious and egregious, it's always sort of a little off-putting for to deal with a client that makes the assumption that something bad has happened. If something bad happens and it's sort of hard for them to come to you and say it, and like, oh my gosh, that was definitely us. You are totally right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's one thing. But if there's like the jacket or whatever, right? Like, yeah.
What did you do, Merrick?
Or what happened with that one?
I think I paid for the jacket.
Yeah.
And I said, I really don't think that it was, I don't think that he would do that, but I have no way of knowing for sure. And, I paid,
that's a weird one. Yeah.
But I mean, it really brings up a whole other thought for me, is this liability as general contractors that we.
Oh, I think that was the question.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
there's the one answer.
I know
the way
that we navigate them, that's a challenge. It's always a unique situation. It's like, if something gets broken, for example, it's like, I might just cover that cost. And usually when I'm talking to the homeowner, I say, we did that, even if it was clearly Bob.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
The
we
buck
did
stops
that
with you. Yeah.
We'll take care of it. I might not even tell Bob. I mean, I might mention it to Bob, but I'm just going to take care of it because I don't want to strain that relationship.
Yep.
There's.
Yeah, I guess I would also tell a homeowner that if you're working with a contractor who's super defensive and says, no way in hell did we touch that or do that,
right,
and can't have an open discussion with you, that'd be a red flag. And
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it works both ways, right?
Yeah.
We'll wrap up this half of the thing. In fact, our battery's going to go dead anyway. But
Okay.
But yeah, that was. It's on both parties to do the right thing and be
Right.
reasonable about it.
Right.
You know, so. Yeah, tough one. Oh, and as far as the actual question, our general liability insurance does not necessarily cover something like theft out of your house from, or suspected theft, right? We're hiring subcontractors. I don't think that my general liability is going to cover theft that can't be proven that it was this person under my
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know.
But it certainly covers if that subcontractor of mine, comes in and drips, drywall stuff or or paint or whatever all over something and ruins something of yours. That's where my coverage comes in and helps you out.
Right.
But so I guess as a homeowner, I would say, generally speaking, reduce any temptation. Mm-hmm. Don't leave much around. I know the crews, hire a good contractor too, because I know the people that we worked with over the years, I worked with them for a reason. I trust them with keys to my house to go and do anything that, so.
And there's like a large company is going to have a revolving door with their staff, so you don't know who's going to be in the house. A smaller company, you get to hand pick kind of who's there. You're working with them every day. You might know them a little bit better.
You're absolutely hand picking them. They're
right.
Yeah.
Those are your people.
Right.
So, yeah, I'd say protect yourself. I don't know what coverages are going to protect you. Probably your homeowners. But you'd have to almost take it to the criminal level if it was theft.
Right.
Versus damage, that's on us.
Yeah.
And we do actually have coverage to help you out with that. So,
Yeah.
All right, there we go. We will wrap up this first half and come back for some more of this stuff after that. All right.
Okay.
We will be back to the show after a few quick ads from our valued sponsors. Wonder Woman Construction is a Minneapolis-based, woman-owned residential and commercial construction and electrical company. Lori and her team pride themselves on their commitment to long-term green and sustainable building practices, and they apply their deep understanding of building science to each project they take on. They are dedicated to the complete satisfaction of every client. One more thing that you absolutely cannot miss about Wonder Woman Construction is the fact that every employee loves what they do and truly enjoys working with each other. The best projects are those that are done by happy people, and Wonder Woman Construction is full of happy people. Visit wonderwomanconstruction.com to get started on your happiest project ever. Kinetic Legacy is the company that powers the JoContractor app. Their unique platform blends the good parts of social tech with their one-of-a-kind data organizing system, giving communities large and small a safe, private space to stay connected and to keep information and memories organized. If you and your community have a shared purpose or passion and are looking for a better way to stay connected, contact Kinetic Legacy today at kineticlegacy.us. Find out how groups from contractors to campers, tribal communities, unions, and alumni organizations are finding their way to meaningful new spaces in this increasingly digital world. Again, that's kineticlegacy.us. Reader Home Restorations is a Minnesota-based full-service residential general contracting company specializing in the repair and painting of historic homes. Whether your home needs repairs, painting, or remodeling, Reader Home Restorations has got you covered. We understand that every home, client, and project is unique. At Reader Home Restorations, we pledge to give you a long-lasting product while paying close attention to client questions and concerns. Check us out at www.readerhomerestorations.com. That's Reader spelled with 2 E's, homerestorations.com. The JoContractor Show doesn't let just any old company put an ad in the middle of a show this important. They have to pay us. Send us an email if you're certain your business should be featured on our show.
right, second half underway. We're gonna have a whirlwind tour of a few more questions before I have to run out of here. So
Yeah, the next question I'm going to ask is kind of maybe a follow-up for the question we just answered prior to break, which was, what do you do when something's broken or stolen or something like that?
cry.
Can I fire a contractor mid-job?
Oh God. I mean, here's the deal. I'd say it would depend on the size and the scope of the project. If you are talking about a relatively small project, then sure. If they're pissing you off and they're not doing a great job, you can find someone else. You're probably going to pay a little more in the end. But if you've got a large job going on, it is very difficult to find other contractors to come in and take over the work of someone else.
That's a huge red flag for me.
Yeah,
What
I was going
happened
to say
them?
red
Where
flag.
did they go? Why are you letting them go? Are you
Totally.
a tough
Yeah.
client, or
Right.
are they a bad contractor? What's going on?
I need to hear the story, and I
The
ask
whole
the whole
story.
story.
And I might even want to talk to the other contractor.
And then I
before-
even might Google that client too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is true. I mean, can you fire? I also have a little phrase I like to say is, if it's not working for one of us, it's not working.
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse than working for an unhappy client who doesn't want you there and saying you're going to finish the job, even though we're required to finish the job. That is legally, we can't walk away. It's got to be agreed upon. But I think a client can walk away, I believe, right?
When the pandemic hit, I had a client. I still feel a little bit bad about how it all worked out, but the pandemic hit and everything slowed down, and we were in the midst of a project, and we kind of took it. We kind of agreed on a point and took it to that point, which I think if I were a homeowner or a contractor in the midst of a project, I would want to try and hit that kind of mark. I think that was the best, most equitable way to finish that relationship, because without that, like, if you've got a contractor who's just not showing up and is leaving you high and dry, that's a whole nother ball. I mean, like, they're fired by default because they're not coming to do their work. But if it's you wanting to get rid of them, whether it's for good cause or not, it would probably be best to agree on a cutoff point and say, look, I just need you to finish to this, and then I'll find someone else to do the rest, because this isn't working for both of us.
Yeah, definitely. It's not, and sometimes that's even hard because you're already not probably getting along. So trying to agree
Totally.
on that even might be hard. So, sometimes it's best just to walk away at a certain point if it's really a bad relationship.
Yep. Yeah.
So can you fire them? Yeah, absolutely.
Of course. Yeah, it's your money.
Yep.
Your house.
Yep.
Yeah. I would say yes.
Yeah. What if I have an amazing contractor who has done a great job? How can I put the word out about them other than Angie's List?
How about do not do Angie's List?
We don't want to be on
Please.
Angie's List.
Oh, the worst thing.
I mean, I'd say ask your contractor what you can do, because maybe they're looking for reviews online. Maybe they want to have you reach out to a client that they're doing a big bid for. I mean, everybody has a different way that they're trying to market themselves, or
Or not, when we're so busy, we don't necessarily want to have our name all over. Another thing I like to say is, word of mouth is the best for clients, for contractors, and if you had a good relationship with your contractor, and in turn they with you, then they want to work for people like you, and you want them to, your friends. Word of mouth is the best. 'Cause
Absolutely.
that's good for the contractor too, because we don't want to go out and just work for and wade through people. When we really liked you, we'd probably really like your friends.
Yeah, and I would say, you guys already touched on all the things that you might do. I would say it's extremely flattering to have clients who go out of their way to do nice things for you, because there's a part of it where, especially when you're the service provider, like I feel like, as friendly as we've gotten throughout this whole thing, it's always been transactional. in a certain way. Like, we're not really friends until 6 months or a year or 2 years after your project is over, and we've still maintained a relationship. Now we're actually really friends. Otherwise, throughout the project, like if I just met you, and even if we've done a 6-month project, we're getting to know each other, but there's that transactional nature to it.
Yeah.
So it's really flattering, and I think it's really kind of you as a homeowner to go just a little step beyond. So like even with our podcast, right? We don't hear from anybody. Very, very infrequently do we hear from people. And I get it. I listen to podcasts. When was the last time I got out there and I was like, thanks so much for this great show,
you know? Right.
But that little gesture, so even if it's not, blowing the bugle loud for how great this contractor is, every time you make a suggestion, I've got a champion for my company and a longtime friend who I did a ton of work for, who I didn't, we weren't friends when I started, but we became friends over time. And she is constantly referring people to me and just saying, this is a wonderful person who does wonderful work. Like, it's really flattering. It's very kind.
So there's this book that I read that really shifted the course of me as a business owner. It's called the One-Page Marketing Plan. And in there he talks about this specific, he refers to them as the white leopard. That's the name he gave this specific kind of client. And these are people that just will go out of their way, tell all of their friends, will constantly be putting reviews, and they just are like a little obsessed with spreading the word about you.
Oh yeah.
And those are the kinds of those are the ones that you need to nurture. You need to be like, I'm going to go over there, I'm going to have coffee with them when I'm in the neighborhood. I'm going to, go and paint their closets for free when I go over there to paint the bedroom. Like,
right.
There's kind of this, these raving fans,
Yeah, I mean, I can think of probably half a dozen. Like, if I think about it for a little bit, there's some people who I'll get misty.
Yeah.
Because they've been so nice to me over the years.
Yeah.
And took a chance on me, let me do things that were maybe a little beyond my scope or a little wild at the time or whatever. And then they tell everyone how wonderful everything is. And you're right. I like that.
And it works for that client too, because that client, when I just got a call from an old client friend, and I was like, one of my crew said, we're too busy. We can't fit that electrical job in. And I'm like, oh no, we will.
Yeah, right.
We'll jump for her no matter what.
That's right. Oh, absolutely. Oh, Lori's worried about the dogs. It's ambiance, Lori. We are in the Wonder Woman. We're going to call this the garage studio now.
Sure.
And the dogs want attention, but it's okay.
Yeah.
You can handle a little dog.
There's my crazy dog.
They're good.
Wants to be interviewed.
All right, you got another question?
So on that same note, or another similar note, I'm trying to put these in some kind of order here. If I don't know anyone personally who has had a good contractor, how do I find, or I'm new to town, or I've never done anything, how do I find a good contractor other than word of recommendation?
Word of mouth, yeah.
Word of mouth, because I don't know anybody and they don't know anybody. Where would they go? And said, should I go call a paint store, or a hardware store, a supply shop? Yeah. That's the question.
Well, and they're politely pointing us in actually probably one of the better directions. If you don't know anyone, it depends on what you're getting done. But if you're like, for instance, in town here in Minneapolis, we have the Kohler store or something like that. So like if you're looking to have your bathroom done, but you really don't know, go to a place like that and ask them, and they're going to refer a few contractors to you that are, their reputations are tied to each other.
Yeah, and the local hardware store, might be a good option too, because they know who the local contractors that come in.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like your average ace down the street might not know us very well. So you might ask, like where it depends on what you're having done, right?
Yeah, totally.
Like if you're getting windows or something like the lumber yard where you might go view those and buy those, they're going to know who's good and who's buying a lot of windows, and I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah, I would be the more specific. I would on a little side note, a little secret on my end is that Menards gives our name out all the time.
Menards does?
And I don't ever return those calls or emails.
I was going to say.
I know. So big box stores, I don't, they don't know me.
Home Depot and Menards,
You got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I don't want them selling my work. I hate that.
No.
Yeah. But the special, like the higher end tile shops and stuff,
right.
Sure. Absolutely, they're
Yep.
gonna give you half a dozen names.
The lumber, a lumber yard. We work
Like
with a
a
lot of
real
real
lumber
lumber yards.
Yeah.
Real.
Which there are a few of left, but
Yeah.
If you just moved to town, your realtor is a good resource for that too, because they're gonna know. I don't know.
No, it totally depends on the
cheap.
realtor. Yeah,
And what you're trying to get done.
cheap.
Oh, right.
They usually know handyman. So if you really do, but there again, yes, Mary,
That's good.
That's
good.
that would be a good resource for a handyman or some smaller projects, broken windows.
Yeah,
Then the realtor because they tend to use a lot of handymen
and painters and stuff
Sure.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that goes back to, I know we've talked about this before. It depends on the scope, right? Like if realtors do know people who can get things done quickly because they're trying to flip houses, get houses done and out quickly. It's when a realtor says, oh, we can just have this bathroom done. Like they can just do a quick update on it or whatever. And you're like, no, this is a 100-year-old bathroom. Like it needs to get redone. So it depends on what you're looking for, but I don't think that's a bad suggestion.
Yeah.
So.
No. It is. It really does come back to what do you have? What are your needs? What do you need done?
Yep.
Here's a good question: is is it okay for the contractor to ask what your budget is?
Ooh, I've seen this come up a bunch in my tile forums and stuff too.
I always ask.
So do I.
So do I.
Yeah. Years ago, I would have said
Same.
no. I'd have been afraid to do
Same.
it. Yeah. And now
Why
I
is
ask,
it different?
Because, I mean, ultimately, we're both looking for this to be a good fit. If I'll tell you what my rough number is, if you'll tell me what your rough number is, because if you say, if I'm looking at a project that I know darn well is going to come in at $100,000 and you say and you got $30,000 to do it, then we're not on the same page.
Right.
And let's not waste each other's time with this. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, with my cost plus billing platform, there's really not much risk for the client to tell me what they want to spend, because then because it's going to take what it takes. It's going to take this many hours, this many materials. It's not like if they tell me their budget's $100,000, it's going to take 50, that I'm just going to go with the high number, because it's all transparent as far as billing.
And I think we talked about this the last time we did question and answer, the difference between cost plus
Right.
and bidding. And I maintain that if you're doing your cost plus correctly and you're doing your estimating or bidding correctly, they should almost end up being the same number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I don't think you're getting screwed either way.
Right.
It's just that some people like the security of kind of having a number, and some people, some people are totally comfortable with cost plus because they understand the fluid nature of the project. But then I always feel like, from my end, I always feel like they're going to be looking over my shoulder going, well, it looks like you added 8 minutes to, you weren't actually out of here at 4 o'clock.
Right.
Like, well, so
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, that's good. And I think, if you can, again, it goes back to, we all have different clients, right? I don't run into people who want me to do work cost plus.
Mm-hmm.
I want, but there are people out there
That want that.
who are very
Yeah.
comfortable with that, and they would be a good fit for you, so.
Yeah, and my neighbor's a contractor, and that's how they do it too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you do that? But everybody just does it a little differently.
It's just a different way of accounting,
Right.
really.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
And another question heading in a different direction is, what are contractors looking for in clients?
I'm looking for somebody that appears to be financially stable and also like have, reasonable mental health.
I was going to say financially and emotionally stable. Those are nice. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it would be ideal if every client that came to us had been through projects before and knew what they were talking about, and were like, yep, that's okay. I've been through this before. But that's not going to be the case, right?
Yeah.
So I would say, one of the things that I like in a sort of ideal client is that they don't come into the relationship assuming that I'm trying to screw them. Like, just understand, I've got no incentive to do you any harm. It never works out. It's not going to be good for either of us. And I want to, so if I tell you a number, I'm not doing that to hurt you or anything. I'm telling you that because that's what it costs to get the work that you asked for done.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I would say that same is that we're looking for a good client as much as they're looking for a good contractor.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got the dogs. I've got to go pick up my kids. We've been at it for 45 minutes. I think it's time for us to wrap this show up.
Yeah, I do too. I hear kids outside.
Yeah.
Are they yours?
Yeah.
They're coming for you.
Who knows? Who knows whose kids are coming for us? All right, you guys. Well, another great show. I really enjoy these question and answer ones.
Yeah.
I think we can, sprinkle these in whenever we get a chance. And we're going to figure this Facebook Live thing out, and we're going to get people to watch us sometime. We'll schedule it so that people actually know that it's happening.
Yeah.
And we'll work out the audio so maybe they can hear the answers for everyone, and we will get this figured out. But thanks for sticking with us and listening to the JoContractor Show. We really appreciate it. If you have time, it would be lovely if you could just drop us a little note. We'd love it.
And subscribe.
Oh, yeah, always subscribe. Always. That's easy. Free. There's no cost to that. So go ahead and like us, subscribe us.
You don't even have to like us to subscribe.
That's true. You can like us out of spite. All right. We'll end there.
Thank you so much for listening to another amazing episode of the most important show out there. Before we go, we want to thank you again for supporting us and for all the lovely things you say about us on social media. Shows like this grow with help from people like you. And remember, keep sending us your questions. We really appreciate the stories and the great insights we gain from our audience. We also want to remind you that you can buy shirts, hats, and more at JoContractorshow.com. Be good to each other, and we'll catch you on the next show.